2:17 a.m. local time, March 10th, 2026, Persian Gulf. The water is black. Somewhere beneath a moonless sky, the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group holds its position, running dark, silent, deliberate. No commercial signals, no unnecessary transmissions, just the low hum of turbines and the measured breathing of over 5,000 personnel who know something is about to happen. It has already begun. For weeks, the geopolitical temperature across the Middle East had been rising. Iran's supreme leadership had issued 3 consecutive warnings against any military encroachment within its territorial sphere. Proxy forces along the Iraqi border had been repositioned. Radar installations near Fordo and Natanz had received significant upgrades. Satellite imagery confirmed the movement of mobile missile launch systems, Shahab-3 derivatives, and advanced Fateh 110 variants, dispersed into hardened underground corridors across the Zagros mountain range. Tehran believed dispersal was protection. They were wrong. For the United States, the strategic calculus had shifted months earlier. Intelligence gathered by the National Reconnaissance Office, corroborated by human intelligence assets, embedded deep within Iran's defense architecture, confirmed what analysts had feared. Iran's Integrated Air Defense Network, known as IADS, had reached a threshold of effectiveness that would render future diplomatic leverage meaningless. The window was closing. In classified briefings at the Pentagon, generals described it simply: act now, or lose the option entirely. The decision moved up the chain. It reached the highest level. It was approved. What followed was not a strike, it was a sequence, carefully layered, precisely timed, engineered to exploit the gap between detection and response. A gap measured not in minutes but in seconds. Phase 1 began 7 days before the first weapon ever left its platform. A-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, operating from the Gerald R. Ford, began conducting what appeared to be routine patrol patterns across the northern Gulf. To Iranian radar operators tracking these flights, the signatures were familiar, unremarkable. That was the point. Each pass mapped the emission frequencies of Iranian ground-based radar installations. The S-300 PMU, 2 batteries positioned around Tehran, the Bavar 373 systems guarding the nuclear enrichment facilities, the layered Tor M1 short-range interceptors deployed at critical choke points. Every pulse they emitted was recorded, every frequency catalogued. By day 4, U.S. signals intelligence had a complete electronic fingerprint of Iran's integrated defense network. Phase 2 began quietly. 3 Ohio-class guided missile submarines, reconfigured to carry Tomahawk cruise missiles, had been repositioned into the Arabian Sea in the preceding weeks. Their movements were masked beneath a pattern of routine submarine activity in the region, consistent with exercises that had been occurring for months. Iran's naval intelligence tracked the surface ships. They missed the submarines entirely. Simultaneously, 5 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers departed Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri under the cover of a scheduled long-duration training mission. Their flight plans filed with Air Force Logistics reflected a trans-Pacific route. They banked south, refueling over Diego Garcia from KC-135 tankers. The B-2S descended to altitude profiles specifically designed to exploit gaps in over-the-horizon radar coverage. Gaps the EA-18G reconnaissance flights had already mapped. They were invisible before they crossed the first national boundary, inside the Combined Air Operations Center at Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. The targeting grid was complete. Over 200 discrete aim points, command and control nodes, radar emitter sites, missile launch infrastructure, communications relay towers, hardened underground facilities at Natanz and Fordow. The fiber optic backbone connecting Iran's early warning network to its interceptor squadrons. Not a single target was a population center. Every coordinate represented a component of Iran's military decision-making apparatus. Its ability to see, to communicate, and to respond. Disable those 3 things, and an army of hundreds of thousands becomes a collection of confused, disconnected men with weapons and no orders. That was the objective. At 2:19 a.m. Gulf Standard Time, the sequence entered its active phase. From the Arabian Sea, the first salvo of Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles cleared the surface of the water. 54 missiles, launched in a compressed time window of less than 90 seconds, each one flying at subsonic speed, terrain-following algorithms guiding them through mountainous corridors, avoiding radar elevation cones that had been precisely mapped weeks earlier. Simultaneously, the B-2 bombers reached their release coordinates. They never announced themselves. The first indication Iranian air defense operators had of their presence was not a radar contact. It was the detonation of GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators against hardened underground infrastructure. 30,000 pounds of precision-guided ordnance, designed specifically to defeat reinforced concrete bunkers buried under tens of meters of earth. The ground shook across 3 provinces. Then the lights went out. Iran's integrated air defense network attempted to respond. Radar operators in the command facility northeast of Tehran registered the incoming cruise missile signatures 12 minutes into the attack sequence, far later than their doctrinal response threshold required. Intercept orders were transmitted. Torem-1 batteries attempted to engage. 3 missiles were destroyed in flight. 51 continued. The S-300 PMU, 2 batteries surrounding Tehran's northern approach attempted to slew their engagement radars toward the incoming targets. The radars never fully activated. EA-18G Growlers, holding station over international waters in the Gulf of Oman, had already begun transmitting targeted jamming signals. Frequencies precisely calibrated to saturate the emission bands the S-300 system depended upon. The screens went white. Iranian operators stared at noise. In Tehran, the Defense Ministry received fragmented, contradictory reports. Explosions near Fordow, communication loss with the Natanz facility, a missile battery commander in Isfahan reporting his radar had gone